Good day South Africa, goeiedag South Africa, Dumelang South Africa. Welcome to another episode of DissectWithLem. We're recording this after episode 2 of Survivor South Africa. A lot of people said on social media it's gonna be a nail biter, and wow, they were right. With me in the studio, back by popular demand, we have Hannes. Hannes, wait. How are you?
Good evening, Lem. Good to be back on the podcast. I'm well. It's been a busy week. Luckily, ending it off with a great Survivor episode.
Yes, I want to say on this episode, before we begin, a lot of people last week gave us feedback saying, we're not pronouncing the names right. That's the only feedback we get on the show. People giving us talk about our grammar and pronunciation. But let's start. I think we'll leave this explosive tribal council until last. So let's just start with the Mindanao. I'm 10 people have let me know how to say it. The Mindanao tribe. Hannes, let's start with the challenges and how this team's gathering some momentum.
Definitely. I think after the reward challenge, I thought, 3 for 3. After the immunity challenge, they're 4 for 4. A few things which struck me. Like with any tribe, like with Survivor, we know alliances are busy forming. PK and Tevin, they've got a good bromance thing going. I'm not so sure about the game which Katinka is playing. She's looking a bit naive, maybe not, as she's still finding her feet.
Look, sorry, I just want to say, we try very hard on this podcast to never get personal, but we didn't say this guy is bad, but we played a bad game, but I honestly don't know if Katinka knows on what game show she is. I mean, it looks like she's just floating, like, do you want to be in my alliance? No, I'm just checking the, no pun intended, cat out of a bag. So I think I agree with you. It doesn't look like she's really a gamer and there to play the game.
A simple rule of Survivor is the following. When someone approaches you for your trust for an alliance, always say yes. You can then always afterwards go play your own game and screw over whoever you want to screw over. But never say no to an alliance. Strategically, I don't think it's the smartest move. However, the Mindanao, I hope I said it correctly.
Mindanao, you're saying it correctly, yes.
Perfect, great. They seem to gel good, especially when it comes to the challenges. And that's what's important in this game. You need to win the challenges. Perhaps I think it was short-sighted of them to immediately kill and eat one of those chickens. Think long run in the game. You're never on the top, you're never down below. The chicken could have laid some eggs.
Look, we don't know. I haven't watched that in depth if it's a hen or a rooster, but you're right. You shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. And I agree with you. I think they might have been a bit more strategic with it. But speaking of the hens, Hannes, we've seen this thing now of the so-called female alliance with John in the middle saying, listen, I've got these 5 girls on one side and I've got these other 4 guys on the other side. So I think John's in a really good position, and I think somebody we initially underestimated. Are you happy with the game?
Yes. Again, I think she is in a very, very, very good and strong position. Now, the thing when a tribe gathers so much momentum, they're used to winning, things are going well. The problem is that generally, and we've seen it in many other survivors previously, when the wheels come off, they come off with interest. So I hope it doesn't happen for Mindanao. And we should also discuss Martinez. What do you think of his gameplay?
Yeah, I think we've seen the resurrection of Martinez. In the first one he was on hot coals. Everybody was throwing his name around. And I think if Mindanao lost that first rubber council, and Seamus was now sitting having a beer together. So I think we spoke about this before. If you can just make it past those first 3 or first 5 days and just get settled and get the nerves calmed down, he's now in a position where people can say, you know what, let's let sleeping dogs lie and let's now start working towards what our new goal is. We've got this track record going, and if you have that record going and you've got a cohesive tribe, somebody like Martinez, he just slots in, and I think that's great for him.
Yes. So. Again, not too many negatives in the Mindanao tribe. So let's see where things go next week or for the next 3 days.
I also want to say one thing about Mariska. They had that incident where she saw the girls and she's like, these girls are younger than me and they're giving me orders. But I think she actually did that socially correct, where she said, you know what, they're younger me, but I'm gonna let it rest. Very easy to get swooped into a conflict situation. I think she did something very wise there to just say, you know what, I don't like it, but I'm not gonna make a scene, and I think that was the right move from her part.
Definitely, she's a more silent player, but many times, and again, we've seen it in previous survivors as well. It's the silent. Don't want to say neutral players that gets very far, and I think she's a very smart player. So she's also one to watch out for in the coming episodes.
Yes, I agree. Now, I want to take us to the Luzon tribe. Now, I just want to say, a lot of people watching South Africa Survivor, they haven't watched all the seasons, and that's totally fine. But there was in Survivor's Brains versus Bronze versus Beauty, Survivor Cagayan, there was a tribe called Luzon, the Brain tribe, and they had a terrible track record. I think they lost like the first 4 out of 5 immunities or something like that. Like they were just like destroyed to shambles. And we're seeing this repeat again in Survivor South Africa. Do you think it's maybe just the name? You know, these guys going 0 for 4, or do you think it's just about the players?
It's I don't think it's about the name. I think it's the players. Like I said with Mindanao, you can see that the tribe has cohesion within the tribe. Of course, there are alliances. Survivor is about building the right alliances, but there is more cohesion and cooperation within the tribe. And you can see it with challenges, and you can see the end result. So I think Luzon need to have a good look at themselves at the point where they are at the moment.
You spoke about the challenges, and we had two, I want to say, quite well-produced, exciting challenges. And there was a lot of talk about too many cooks in the kitchen, and everybody shouting. Do you think they just don't get a rhythm, or do you think the other team is just purely better than them in every aspect?
It's very difficult to say, who should lead a challenge or who not. Every individual player or outcast bring strengths and weaknesses to the game. No persons are identical, and I can understand the adrenaline, the excitement coming in with a challenge. So I don't really have a solution for them at the moment.
Yes, and I want to speak about something else. Okay, now we're going to get to this electrifying tribal council. Like a lot of people hinted at it. Somebody comes to mind there's two big names that comes to mind when you speak about this tribal council. Okay, the first one is Ace. Now, it's very difficult for us to speak about Ace. We'll get to him later. But the other one is Palesa. I think, they talk about in Survivor when you're at the bottom of Alliance and when you're down your luck, if you have like a kind of a scramble game. And I think Palesa had an excellent game with an excellent strategy. She executed it perfectly, pulled the wool over Ace's eyes, and actually had it work out for her.
Yes, we saw that Palesa's package was the 9th member of the tribe. Palesa played
it sound like an R-rated movie. Tonight on Mnet, Palesa's package.
I think she played it very, very well, smart, strategically, and she knew that Ace was the weakest person in that alliance, and therefore she went for Ace. Perfectly played.
Yes, and I want to say something else. We spoke about Ace. Ace was, we always say the worst place to be in Survivor is in the middle of Alliance, but tonight, if you're in Ace's shoes, okay, and you see somebody, swooping over all, I got an idol, I'm going to put it in my pocket while you're looking, okay? Now you're in that situation. Why do you not talk to your tribe? Why, when you're sitting at Tribal Council, do you not say, Nico, hold up, stop the strain, I have a discussion, I saw that go with an idol in the pocket, guys, we need to recalibrate our strategy. Why did he not say that? Why did he make a U-turn when they voted? It does not make sense for somebody like him. I don't understand what went through his head at that point.
I couldn't agree with you more. So a few things. Firstly, let's begin with the immunity idol, which Palesa didn't have. So I see an immunity idol like I see condoms. Rather have it and don't need it than need it and don't have it. That's the first thing.
Hannes is advocating for a sponsorship for our podcast. So if you work at Derek's, he just gave you the line.
So that's the thing about the immunity idol. Secondly, Ace didn't have a good game plan. So now they voted for Annalise on the one side and on the other side for Josie. The host said that if it's a tie, you're going to draw rocks. But the two who were voted for initially, they are free, so to speak. So then there were 6 people left. So Ace had a 1 in 6 chance to go, and he still went against the Big Five alliance.
Let's just backpedal for a bit. before he had a 1 in 6 chance of going, he could have just switched his vote. He could have just said, okay, I thought she had an idol. That's why I voted for you, Annalisa. Then I see, oh shit, you know what? She didn't have an idol. Okay, now I'm gonna vote for her to just, keep it steady. I don't understand why. I mean, it's not like somebody's forcing him. Nobody's put a gun to his head or whatever. It's early days. I mean, these alliances, they've just formed, man. It's like a kid learning to walk. So I do not understand why in that situation you would say, you know what? I want to take a 1 in 6 shot of voting myself out of a game. For what reason? And now you put yourself in the middle, okay? And I want to ask you a question, honest, and you can be blunt. If you was anybody of the remaining, 7 players now? Yeah, if you're anybody of the remaining 6, excluding Ace, and somebody asks you, can you describe Ace for me in one word or in one sentence? How would you describe him?
The only word that really comes to mind is untrustworthy or untrustworthiness. He flip-flops like this, It's ridiculous, really.
No, exactly. And this is another prediction. Look, we made a lot of predictions and we'll come to Neil now, which is one of the predictions we shanked a bit. But no, this is a prediction. You can call it if something goes down, you go back and say, listen, do you call it your first? I suspect at 15, when they've got 15 people left, they're going to swap into 3 tribes of 5. Okay, so when you get at that point where you're 3 tribes of 5, let's say you're 2 and 3, 2 of a Luzon and 3 of a Mindanao, and you're anybody, let's say Tom, Josie, who the hell ever, and you're with these other 3 people, and they ask you, listen, how's Ace like? Your immediate reaction is going to be, dude, you cannot trust this guy, I'm with you, the 4 of us, vote out that guy, and then we just go and win the challenges. So, this guy's lost every social capital packet that he has, and nobody's going to want to work with him, nobody's going to trust him. If this guy, I think, it's very, very difficult to say in Survivor, in early rounds, okay, after 2 episodes, that guy's out of a show, he doesn't have a chance of winning. But what he just did, I do not see this guy having a shot at winning this game at all.
Look, we did discuss it previously in the week. Survivor, it keeps you humble, it keeps you on the ground. Now, Ace might think, hey, I survived this one, but I also think his days are counted, especially I'll think about your suggestion, the 3 tribes of 5 outcasts each. It would be a very interesting twist in the game, definitely. I can't see Ace making it past the next, say, day 15 or day 20, really, but let's see, eh? Tom, what do you have to say there?
Look, we said it before, and everybody loves Tom, and I'm glad that when they had to Dover Rock, I'm not saying glad it's Tom. It wasn't Tom. I mean, I think there's somebody else it could have been. But I like Tom, and I think Tom's one of those people, if you're in alliance with him, you know where you stand. I think they spoke about the big 5. I don't know what they're now. The Fat 4 or the Fidgety 4. I don't know. We can get a cool name for them. But I think the 4 of them, they've been through this like high and low experience, and that's what bonds you. And you and I, we can't we can say how we know this, but a lot of times in life, the physical pain is underneath the mental capacity, and if you have that mental ability and that mental toughness, you can make it work. And I think Tom and his alliance of 4, the remaining 4, they're now in a point that they can say, listen, the 4 of us actually have bonded, and I think they're in a good position to go forward.
And Neil.
Yes, now we have to speak about Neil.
Yes, that's bad, eh?
Beforehand, if you did not see the podcast, we had winner predictions, and Hannes predicted Pika as his winner. I predicted Neil as my winner pick. I think it's safe to say I've come up short and that you've won. I did not expect it to be such an early defeat, but you won the bet, man. Are you sad to see Neil go? I think he came across as a player, and it's heartbreaking for him, I think.
I really liked Neil from the start. He was a cool-headed, strong player, someone who I think could have made it very, very, very far in the game. So really, it almost leaves a sour taste in your mouth. They elected him, so to speak, as the leader. Nobody voted for him at Tribal Council, yet he was the one walking. It really leaves a sour taste, but I mean, don't hate the player, hate the game, I guess.
I agree with you, but I do not think that Neil is phoning up Ace where he's staying and saying, Ace, let's go grab a beer. I think he has got some unresolved grudges, and I would too if I was in his position. Honest, then finally, they've planted the seed in episode 1 of the hidden immunity idol clue in the next challenge, and then Palesa got the second one, her package, Palesa's package, the second clue to that thing, and it appears that now in the third challenge coming up now in episode 3, we're gonna have these two people having to make a move for the idol. Are you excited for that?
It should be very, very interesting. Yeah, it should be good viewing. I hope, of course, I back Mindanao, but I hope for
why do you back Mindanao? I just want to know, out of curiosity.
I like the players on the Mindanao tribe. I just seem to find a lot more liking in them. So, yes, it was when I started watching this new season, I thought, okay, well, that's my tribe. You always have someone and some tribe whom you back, and that's my tribe. But that being said, I hope for the sake of Luzon that at least they win some challenge. I mean, it's got to happen sometime, eh?
Yeah, look, same with the Sunwolves. You know, you can't lose every game. You have to win sometime. Yes, I agree. I think if Palesa can maybe, swoop in, have an idol, and then they can use that as some sort of leverage, I think that might actually be to their advantage. Okay, I think this episode, it felt a lot to me like going to Golden City. You sit there for 40 minutes in a row, and then you get on the Anaconda, and it's 2 minutes of sheer chaos, and then you're done. So not a lot to talk about. Not even though it was a dramatic tribal council, not as definitely a South African first in terms of what happened. Not so much to speak about. So I think, Hannes, we're about to wrap us up. Do you have any last words or any predictions you want to make?
I think for the time being, no real predictions. Lem, let's see where it's going next week. Again, it is early days. I think perhaps conflict in the Mindanao tribe. That's maybe all prediction I have for this week, really.
Okay, I couldn't say it better. The only thing we have to say for this week, I want to just reiterate my prediction. I think at 15 they're going to split into 3 tribes of 5, and I think then we're really going to see the fireworks. It's never nice in an episode or a season of Survivor when you've got one tribe dominating and they just whittle them down. So definitely excited for see that. That about wraps it up, guys. Hannes, people, if they want to follow you on Twitter, where can they get all of you?
My Twitter handle is @JHLerm, so it's capital J, capital H, capital LERM. Please tweet me. We can have a discussion of the show. Looking forward to hear from you.
Yes, and you can get me @D_Lem, or if you're English, @Die_Lem. And you can also use the hashtag DissectWithLem. You can pick us up there, join the conversation, which is not really conversation because nobody uses that hashtag, but nonetheless, we wanted to start becoming a conversation. And then, you can look out for the other podcast that's going to come out weekly, which we speak about the World Cup. We have another guest, not Hannes. If you're tired of him, you can get somebody else. Vickers, he's speaking with us about the World Cup. We've got a weekly one there. And then we've also got a Super Brew pool for the Soccer World Cup coming up. So be sure to look out for that. Okay, that's so much. Thanks, guys, for watching. And feel free to hit us up and give us your feedbacks. Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.